Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching TopTenZnet, and in the video today, the top 10 delicious global snacks that you should try. There are many reasons to travel: to meet new people, to explore new cultures, to see awesome cities, to hike through spectacular scenery. But what about food? For some, sampling the cuisine of another country is like peeking inside the mind of another culture. We're not talking Michelin-starred fancy 5-course dining either. From Europe to Asia to the Americas and Africa, some of the best eats on the planet are stuff you can pick up at markets and from street vendors. Here are 10 delicious snacks from all around the world that will blow your mind and leave you craving more. And just before we get started with this video, I do want to say there's a lot of weird pronunciations in this one. I try to look them up, and sometimes they're just not always available. I try my best. If you want to have a go at me, do so in the comments below. Number 10. Okonomiyaki from Japan. It's said that you haven't really tasted Japan until you've tried okonomiyaki. In the land of sushi, noodles, and seafood, okonomiyaki stands out by being exactly what you wouldn't expect. It's a sort of cabbage-based pancake, traditionally served with seaweed flakes, bonito fish flakes, super sweet mayonnaise, and the heavenly okonomiyaki sauce. It's not unlike the HP sauce you can find in the UK with a hint of soy. This snack is eaten across the country by the truckload. Garnish aside, it's tricky to say what actually makes an okonomiyaki. The name itself loosely translates as what you like grilled. This means the combinations are essentially endless. You might nab a shrimp or an octopus one in Osaka, then hightail it to Tokyo for a pork filling. There are even local variations on how to cook it. Hiroshima style means putting the ingredients on top. Osaka style means mixing them all into the batter. You can grab one of these taste explosions at one of the many okonomiyaki bars across the country. Just rock up, place your order, and prepare to have your taste buds blown. Number 9. BeaverTails, Canada. The standard joke is that America is a nation of bulging waistlines, while Canadians are svelte and trim. Judging by the existence of BeaverTails, the only rational explanation for this is that those north of the border are riddled with tapeworm, a fried, doughy pastry stretched into the shape of a beaver's tail and loaded with more sweet stuff and condiments than you can shake a proverbial stick at. BeaverTails are a delicious heart attack in the making. Just look at the picture we're showing here, for example. I mean, really look at it. It's a pastry snack the size of your face, covered in chocolate and topped with Smarties, which are chocolate buttons that inexplicably aren't available south of the Canadian border. It looks like everything you never knew you wanted while mildly drunk at an ice hockey game. A branded snack, these have only been around since 1978. Number 8. Kürtoskalács in Hungary. If you're ever wandering around the top of Budapest at night, follow your nose to the ancient castle. That sweet, doughy smell tickling your senses and making your mouth water like Niagara Falls, well, that's probably coming from the Kürtoskalács stalls. Known as Transylvanian chimney cakes, these Hungarian bad boys are even tastier than they smell. Supposedly, the dish originated in Romania among the Hungarian community living there. Today, Kürtoskalács are called the oldest pastry in Hungary and pop up at street food stands everywhere. So now you might be asking, well, what exactly are they? Well, they're pretty simple, really. They're chimney cakes made by rolling dough slowly around a wooden spoon or a similar vessel, coating the outside in sugar and oil, and then heating it over a fire. You get a sweet, crunchy exterior and a warm, doughy inside. Just to send the calorie count even higher, plenty of Hungarians take them with chocolate spread. The absolute best time to try these is when it's so cold out that you can see your breath. Then the heat of the dough and the sweetness combine to feel like an elixir of life. Number 7. Tamiya from Egypt. Everybody in the Middle East does falafel, and most countries do it excellently. No one, however, does it as well as the Egyptians. The only thing is, they don't call it falafel. Oh no, they want to keep this dish a secret. If you're ever in Cairo or Alexandria, which are, according to food critics, the best two places for Egyptian falafel, keep an eye out for Tamiya. It'll change your idea of just how freaking good falafel can really be. The secret here is fava beans. While most Middle Eastern countries use chickpeas to make falafel, Egypt bucks the trend by using fava beans. The result is falafel that's moister and lighter than anything you'll find elsewhere. It's cheap too. Stalls will sell you a Tamiya wrap for around the equivalent of 30 cents a pop. According to experts, though, the place to head is Mohammed Ahmed, a cheap eatery in Alexandria. There you can combine it with ful, a bean paste, and eat yourself into a coma. In fact, Tamiya is so cheap and delicious and plentiful that many joke that Egypt is the best country for making vegetarians fat. Number 6. Red from Ghana. West African food is famous across the continent for its intense flavors and inventive style. But in West Africa itself, the country that takes the crown is probably Ghana. While there's plenty to be said for Nigerian or Senegalese food, Ghana just edges out its neighbors in the running. And what's part of the key to that success? Well, that would be red red. A kind of simple tomato stew made with black-eyed peas, red red is practically Ghana's national dish. People eat it at home, on the way to work, while they're at restaurants. The reason for this is because the dish is delightful. The texture of the beans combined with the vague smoky flavor of the meat all combines to make a mouth-watering dish. Then there's the red palm oil. Supposedly, the mixture of this oil with tomatoes is why the stew is called red red in the first place. Although people eat red red at pretty much any time, apparently the time to really appreciate it is breakfast time. I mean, what better way could you think of to start the day than a spicy, smoky, tomatoey African stew? Number 5. Klobasa, Czech Republic. The Czech Republic consumes more beer per capita than literally any other country on God's green earth. Yep, that includes Ireland, Austria, and Germany. As such, you'd expect their best street food to cater to the needs of, well, drunks. So warm, fatty, and deeply delicious then. Enter the infamous Klobasa, a smoked German-style sausage traditionally served with mustard and 2 slices of brown Czech bread. It's 1 a.m. drunken street food, elevated to an art form. All this is a pretty recent development. In 1948, the communists took over what was then Czechoslovakia and immediately started being jerks. One of the things they were jerky about was what people could eat. A book was published called Recipes for War Meals, and if you cooked anything and sold anything that wasn't in it, you'd get yourself thrown in jail. Combined with meat shortages in the 70s and 80s, this led to Czech sausages almost vanishing. When the communists were overthrown in 1989, Czechs went Klobasa crazy. Today, Klobasa is so popular that English-speaking locals even run international blogs about where exactly to chow down on the best Czech sausage. Certainly one to study before you visit. Number 4. Hormigas from Colombia. In the heart of Colombia's Santander department sits a little whitewashed village called Barachara. Legendarily beautiful, it looks like a slice of southern Spain relocated to South America. That's not why people go there though. For foodies and snack fans, there's one overwhelming reason to visit this sleepy village. That's because Barachara is where you can find hormigas. The slightly gross part first. Hormigas are ants. Specifically, they're female leafcutter ants with a butt so big it could star in music videos. Harvested in the spring, they're toasted with salt and served from little packets, just like peanuts. But this is not an entry we've thrown in just to make you go, ugh. Hormigas are considered a local delicacy with high protein levels and aphrodisiac qualities. They're so renowned that upscale restaurants across Colombia use them to make expensive sauces. But the best way to try them is to grab a pack in Barachara and chow on down. Salty, earthy, and a little strange, hormigas in Santander are traditionally eaten under the blazing sun with an ice-cold beer. You take a sip of beer, eat an ant, take another sip, and so on until the packet is empty. Number 3. Chili crab, Singapore. Singapore is one of the smallest countries on Earth. Well, how small? Well, you could fit the entire nation of Rhode Island 4 whole times and still have a bit of space left. If you're watching from the UK and are a little bit confused about Rhode Island, just replace that with Cornwall. At such a reduced size, you might not expect any incredible foods to come out of Singapore, but you'd be absolutely wrong. The microstate's chili crab is some of the best street food in all of Asia. The snack does what it says on the tin. It's a stir-fried crab coated in a sweet and super spicy sauce, and it comes served with deep-fried buns. But that explanation simply cannot convey just how tasty chili crab is. CNN ranked it the 35th most delicious food in the entire world. There are more shops, restaurants, and stalls selling it in Singapore than there are most likely people in Wyoming. People fly to Asia purely to sample it. That's how good we're talking. Chili crab is so widely available in Singapore that there's no point in us telling you where to go for it. Just step off the plane and head towards the nearest group of people. We're like 99% sure one of them will be able to point you to a stand within walking distance. Number 2. Tacos, Mexico. Yeah, we know what you're thinking. Tacos. Of all the street food in the world, they go and choose the dish that inspired the abomination that we call Taco Bell. Well, hold your horses, because what you probably think a taco is light years from what you'll get on a street in Mexico. Forget the Tex-Mex thing with the crispy shell. Real tacos are as close to them as your 4th grade art project was to the Sistine Chapel. Let's start with the basics. Proper Mexican tacos come in a flat, homemade tortilla. They also contain more than just a begrudging serving of meat and some salsa. El Chupacabre's taco stand in Mexico City, for example, claims over 100 different ingredients go into each and every one of their tacos, and that's before you get to the sides. Basically, get away from the border towns in Mexico, and tacos go from being cheap junk food you eat when you hate yourself and no longer want your pants to fit, to awesome working-class street food that deserves a spot on this list. Number 1. Burek, Bosnia-Herzegovina. The Balkans have easily some of the best food in the world, and that includes the best street food. Meat patties in Serbia, soup in Bulgaria, the list, it goes on. For our money though, there's one clear winner. Burek, also called Burek, from Bosnia-Herzegovina, is perhaps the tastiest snack in the whole of the Balkan region. Originally from Turkey, this pastry snack really came into its own in Bosnia, where it was brought, along with Ottoman rule, in the middle of the last millennium. Basically, you take some pastry, fill it with aromatic mincemeat, goat's cheese, spinach and herbs, roll it up, lightly spice it, glaze it with oil, and bake it until it's golden and delicious. The result is a kind of sweet, kind of savory dish that's crispy on the outside and has the consistency of al dente pasta on the inside. The best place to grab burek is on the streets of Sarajevo, where a serving goes for around the equivalent of $1.70. Awesomely, it tastes good both drunk and stone cold sober, meaning it's probably, therefore, the most perfect snack food in the entire world. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for brand new videos every day of the week. Also, I've got another channel, it's called Today I Found Out, and on that channel we have content very much like this, but we dive into one specific subject in real depth. You can check that out through the icon on the screen now. But if you're looking for something else to watch right now, why not check out another TopTenz video or a Today I Found Out video over there on the right. And as always, thank you for watching.